So, a massive game in Spain this weekend, the most played game in Spanish football history, the Madrid derby, Atleti against Real Madrid. Listen, you've got to check out a video with Graham Hunter. I've just watched it, absolutely superb on the Bet365 YouTube account. He has taken a deep dive into this fixture, which this time around, I've got to say, James, I don't think has the allure that it's had in recent years. Do you think that Real Madrid will maybe, after reaching the Champions League final, look to rest players and maybe it won't have the same level of quality or intensity that we've seen in previous seasons?
Well, if he is looking to rest them, he should click on that video because it's soothing, guys. I don't know if you like people swanning around, chatting to people, seeing coffee being poured, but that is what this video is about, as well as being informative. So go check it out. I think, looking at the league table, I think it does say a lot, especially with that Champions League final that we both said they were never going to get to. They are at that game, but that is, of course, on May the 28th. But if you look at the table, 81 points for Real Madrid, Barcelona 66, absolutely miles off. Barcelona, Sevilla 66 to 64. They're battling out a little bit, and then Atletico Madrid down in 61 points. So there is so much of a gap between Real Madrid and the rest that it would be smart to rest them. I guess the question is, do you rest them now and then start to get them sort of geared back into it before the final? Or did you keep going for now and keep the wheels turning? Because one thing that Ancelotti doesn't really like to do, Hugh, is actually change it up that often. That's been one of his biggest critiques, that he just plays the same team time and again. Do you think he will kind of stick with that? Because I guess the question is, it's being fresh, but it's also having momentum going into that Champions League final, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he will save his best teams for the last couple of games to try and get that upward trajectory, that rhythm going before the final. Actually, I think given the physical exertion of midweek, the emotional investment of everyone at the burner, now is the time to, I think, rest players, use that squad, and so many of them come off the bench and provide impetus, particularly some of the younger players. He needs to do that once again for me. One player who I think for all of us really stood out, who I don't think needs resting, is Eduardo Camavinga. He's the only player that I would say, because he came off the bench, but also because he's a young player, 19 years old, he needs those reps. I'd say, given his impact in the Champions League knockouts, give him some time, start him all the way through to the end of the season, see if he is going to be that player that when you get to the final can make that huge impact. Just give him that time in the team to build that confidence, but also I think to gel with the players around him. Definitely one player that I would earmark. But generally speaking, when you've got a Karim Benzema who's in his mid-30s, when you've got a Luka Modric who's even older than that, you've won the league with room to spare. Rest those players, save them for the final.
So getting into this game, it does feel that little bit flat, doesn't it? But it is still a Madrid derby. And there's going to be a bit of needle, certainly at the start of the game. There's been a lot of discussion about the guard of honor that should be given to Real Madrid by Atletico Madrid. But a lot of the Atletico Madrid players don't really want to do it. Black in particular has suggested that, look, whatever the protocol is, then we will do it. But we respect our fans too much. We shouldn't be putting forward a guard of honor. I think this is a really interesting talking point, Hugh. What do you think should be done? This feels like something that's quite new, the guard of honor. It's kind of happened in the last 10, 15 years. Is it something that should be adhered to? Because I think if one team goes, we're not doing it, then there's going to be a bit of an avalanche of this, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing. Why did it come in the first place, really? Because obviously the team that's won the title in many ways deserves a guard of honor from all other 19, just to show them that level of respect for their achievement. So the one team that plays them the week after they're confirmed as champions is the one that really has to, walk away with the tail between their legs. Slightly unfair, particularly if it's your biggest rival. Listen, I think it's good for sportsmanship. But then again, it's Atletico Madrid, and that's not really something that goes hand in hand exactly with their reputation. So look, I think in a way, it builds up the rivalry between them, which is good for Atletico Madrid because I think they will always be the underdog in this fight. As great a club as they've become in the last sort of 10 years under Diego Simeone, I think will remain the underdogs against Real Madrid. And so it's almost good to have that attitude, to have that mentality, and to have that spirit coursing through the veins of your football club. And I think this is all just a part of it.
The game itself, Atletico Madrid really, really struggled actually since that going out of the Champions League. It seems losing a few games, only won one in that time and had a man sent off in that game. So good victory there. But otherwise, super, super poor for them. They've had a little bit of bad luck. They've conceded 41 goals this season. Their expected goals is actually 34.5. So normally, and last season, it was actually the other way around, where they were conceding less. And that's what made the huge difference between them being where they are in the league right now and being champions of La Liga. Do you think they've been a little bit unfortunate this season? And do you think that means that they're a little bit dangerous going into a game where I would imagine we both consider them the underdogs?
Unfortunate isn't exactly the word that I would use. I think they've been missing that top 5%. They haven't finished off some of the good chances that they've had. And I think, you've pointed it out there. I think they've conceded, unfortunately, more goals than they maybe would have otherwise. But I do think the blame lies with them. I've spoken about it before. I'm not a huge fan of their style of football, although under Diego Simeone, it has brought them success. I feel like they are a little bit tired. At the end of last season, they really did stumble over the line, if you like, in La Liga. And that lack of energy, I think, poured into this campaign as well. I do get the feeling that a lot of the players there play within themselves because of that style of football, doesn't unleash the best of their talents either. And that is something that I think Diego Simeone, if he's going to stay in charge of the club, needs to find a remedy for. And actually, of late, I think he has been trying to find a solution. He's been moving players around into different positions. I'm not a fan of midfielders playing wing back, but he's tried it. It hasn't worked. And I think he needs to find something else, because to have a team as talented as he has, with a squad of players that he does have, just to fail to score in 5 of their last 6 games isn't really good enough. Now, maybe the end of the season with, of course, something big to play for, a place in the Champions League, I think they just want to find that fluency. He wants to find some form, some rhythm to take into the end of the season. He's searching around desperately for it, and it just hasn't come. Actually, I think their mode of playing works best for this game, because I think Real Madrid will be the favourites, even with changes. So maybe that back to the wall mentality is something that they'll need in front of their own fans if they're to win this game. I do think it's possible, especially with the emotional week that Real Madrid had. But I don't think it's going to be a very pretty match if Atletico win it.
Yeah, I think this is actually a perfect game for Atletico Madrid in my eyes. I think you're right. That sort of the adrenaline dump that would have occurred in the Champions League this week will hurt them a little bit. And from Atletico Madrid's side, the mentality of that team, they need something to prove, and they're better when that is the case. And so going into this game at home, even though it's against a team in Real Madrid that they are unbeaten in the last 8 matches against them, I'm going to go with Atletico Madrid to at least get a draw in this one. I think their lack of form could hurt them in that sense. And you're right, the lack of goals as well. Suarez only scoring 11 goals this season. Correa 11 goals as well. João Felix only 8 goals in La Liga as well. So I think it's most likely to be a draw, but Atletico Madrid might just sneak this one for me. Hi guys, James Allcott here from ESPN's Football Forecast. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and you want to check out more, make sure you subscribe to ESPN UK.